out about with his furry coat and his gauzy wing. Now in a lily cup and now setting a giant bella swing in his wandering. Sit closer, love, it was here I trod. I made that vow, swore that two lives should be like one, as long as the seagull loved the sea, as long as the sunflower sought the sun. It shall be, I said, for eternity, twixt you and me. Dear friend, those times are over and done. Love's web is spun. Look upward where the poplar trees sway and sway in the summer air. Here in the valley never a breeze scatters the thistle down, but their great winds blow fair from the mighty murmuring mystical seas in the wave-lashed leaves. Look upward where the white gull screams. What does it see that we do not see? Is that a star or the lamp that gleams on some outward voyaging argosy? Ah, can it be we have lived our lives in a land of dreams? How sad it seems. Sweet, there is nothing left to say but this, that love is never lost. Keen winter stabs the breast of May, whose crimson roses burst his frost. Ships tempest tossed will find a harbor in some bay, and so we may. And there is nothing left to do but to kiss once again and part. Nay, there is nothing we should rue. I have my beauty, you your art. Nay, do not start. One world was not enough for two like me and you. Could we dig up this long buried treasure? Were it worth the pleasure? We never could learn a love song. We are parted too long. Could the passionate past that is fled call back instead? Could we live it all over again? Were it worth the pain? I remember we used to meet by an ivied seat, and you warbled each pretty word with the air of a bird, and your voice had a quaver in it, just like a linnet, and shook as the blackbird's throat with its last big note. And your eyes, they were green and gray, like an April day but lit into amethyst. When I stooped and kissed a mouth that would never smile for a long, long while, then it rippled all over with laughter. 5 minutes after, you were always afraid of a shower, just like a flower. I remember you started and ran when the rain began. like a tangled sunbeam of gold. These things are old. I remember so well the room and the lilac bloom that beat at the dripping pane in the warm June rain, and the color of your gown. It was amber brown and two yellow satin bows from your shoulders rose, and the handkerchief of French lace which you held to your face had a small tear left to stain. Or was it the rain on your hand as it waved adieu? There were veins of blue in your voice as it said goodbye. Was a petulant cry, you have only wasted your life. That was the knife. When I rushed through the garden gate, it was all too late. Could we live it over again? Were it worth the pain? Could the passionate past that has fled call back its dead? Well, if my heart must break, dear love, for your sake, it will break in music, I know. Poets' hearts break so, but strange that I was not told that the brain can hold in a tiny ivory cell God's heaven and hell. To that gaunt house of art which lacks for naught of all the great things men have saved from time, the withered body of a girl was brought, dead ere the world's glad youth had touched its prime, and seen by lonely Arabs lying hid in the dim womb of some black pyramid. But when they had unloosed the linen band which swathed the Egyptian's body low was found, closed in the wasted hollow of her hand, a little seed which sown in English ground did wondrous snow of starry blossoms bear, and spread rich odors through our springtide air. With such strange arts this flower did allure, that all forgotten was the asphodel, and the brown bee, the lily's paramour, forsook the cup where he was wont to dwell. For not a thing of earth it seemed to be, but stolen from some heavenly Arcady. In vain the sad Narcissus, wan and white at its own beauty, hung across the stream. Dust to make his wings a gleam, on no delight the jasmine bloom to kiss, or brush the rain pearls from the iris. For love of it the passionate nightingale forgot the hills of thrice the cruel king, and the pale dove no longer cared to sail through the wet woods at time of blossoming. But round this flower of Egypt sought to float, with silvered wing and amethysting throat, while the hot sun blazed in his tower of blue. A cooling wind crept from the land of snows, and the warm south with tender tears of dew drenched its white leaves when Hesperos uprose amid those sea green meadows of the sky, on which the scarlet bars of sunset lie. But when Norway's of lily haunted field, the tired birds had stayed there, a morris tune and broad and glittering like an argent shield. High in the sapphire heavens hung the moon. Did no strange dream or evil memory make each tremulous petal of its blossoms shake? Oh no, to this bright flower 1,000 years seem but the lingering of a summer's day. It never knew the tide of cankering fears which turn a boy's gold hair to withered gray. The dread desire of death it never knew, or how all folk that they were born must rue. For we to death with pipe and dancing go, nor would we pass the ivory gate again, as some sad river wearied of its flow 7 stars in the still water, and 7 in the sky. 7 sins on the king's daughter, deep in her soul to lie. Red roses are at her feet, roses are red in her red gold hair, and all where her bosom and girdle meet, red roses are hidden there. Who lights a lane amid the rush and reed. See the lean fishes that are fain upon dead men to feed. We got the tread of dancing feet, loitered down the moonlit street, and stopped beneath the harlot's house. Inside above the din and fray, we heard the loud musicians play the Trauserliebes Herz of Strauss. Like strange mechanical grotesques making fantastic arabesques, the shadows raced across the blind. We watched the ghostly dancers spin, the sound of horn and violin, like black leaves wheeling in the wind. Like wire-pulled automatons, slim silhouetted skeletons, went sailing through the slow quadrille, then took each other by the hand and danced a stately saraband. Their laughter echoed thin and shrill. Sometimes a clockwork puppet pressed a phantom lover to her breast. Sometimes they seemed to try to sing. Sometimes a horrible marionette came out and smoked its cigarette upon the steps like a live thing. Then turning to my love, I said, the dead are dancing with the dead. The dust is whirling with the dust. But she heard the violin and left my side and entered in. Love passed into the house of lust. Then suddenly the tune went false, the dancers wearied of the waltz. The shadows ceased to wheel and whirl, and down the long and silent street the